Hi there, this is Fanny Ho. Happy New Year to you. Today I have Mrs. Wu together with me. This is a woman that I respect a lot. This is also the woman that I pick up the baton from. It is not easy to follow her footsteps, but I have such good model.
Thank you.
And she's the most humble person because a lot of people said that, okay, if you pick up the baton and then the person does not exit, then you will have a tough time. My experience is totally opposite because she did not exit after she passed the baton to me. I found that she became my strongest support, comfort at a lot of time. And it is truly a blessing that she did not just exit and give me the baton. Mrs. Wu, you spent a whole big chunk of your life devoted into Puerto Christian school. How many years now?
30 years I've been involved in the ministry of the school.
And I have to also mention that 30 years as a volunteer. Now, some people think that volunteers, they have no commitment, but for Mrs. Wu, that's not the case. Nobody even know that she was not getting a paycheck, but she worked just like any other full-time for the last 30 years. Even after she passed the baton to me for the last 7 years, she continued to serve the children and the family in this community. Now, Mrs. Wu, that is a huge chunk of your life. What transpired you to do that?
Well, just because I have been involved in this church, even before being involved at full-time in the ministry, I got to love the children and saw how even the children who attended the school years past have developed into such strong Christians and citizens. And so I like to continue watching our new crop.
So is that what kept you going? Like, let's say if you invested so much, what good come out of that? So was that concluded? Like that's the end result you see and that's what keeps you going?
Well, we have new results because we have so many graduates from the year that I started, and watching them grow has been a joy and a blessing. And also I'm so thankful for the staff that we have and how much they contribute to the joy of the children learning at this particular school. Yes, so thank the Lord. And thank God for our principal.
So you selected this mission field. Why Puerto Christian School? I mean, there are so many Christian schools around. Why this particular one?
Well, actually, I was living pretty far away when the need arose. The first director was retiring, and I was asked 2 years in a row if I would come on board. But because of the distance I have to travel, I hesitated. But it was my husband who said, that's the job for you. And so I took his word on it, and he promised that he would offer to drive the long distance when he retired. So the job was clinched.
That sounded familiar because my husband made a similar comment when I was being asked to be the next principal. Mrs. Wu, as I look back, we had one director, which was the founding director, and then you pick up the baton as the next director, and then later on became the first principal. I always thought that I was the third principal, but I need to correct myself. I am only the second principal.
Yes.
And I guess God placed these three people in different seasons of Puerto Christian School with particular purposes. And right now, people know that we are running a campaign, a capital campaign, Project Nehemiah. But our focus might be looking at the future and looking at the present, the current staff, how we are running this campaign. But as the second principal, I have to testify that whatever we have right now, it is built upon the foundation of the leaders in the past. We cannot begin to list all the leaders, but just a few. So myself following their footstep, I'm actually walking on their shoulder and kind of leaning on them. If there were no foundation, I don't think we could be where we are right now. So this is still New Year. I would like to ask you to celebrate ministry and people like Mrs. Wu, who devoted her whole life. Actually, the first director also devoted her whole life in this ministry. So I asked in the beginning of the new year that you will celebrate with us, celebrate God's ministry through people like Mrs. Wu, and to give towards the expansion. I know that as responsible givers, we do our budgeting in the beginning of the year, and then we tend to give a year-end donation. And this time around, I ask you, instead of giving and waiting until the end of the school year or the end of the year, I ask that you will give a New Year donation, because by God's grace, He has gathered people together and gather the funding together and carry us through the 2 million mark. But by February 28, all the funding needs to come in for phase 1. So we need another 1.68 to make 3.68 million. So we have to get all the funding in by February 28 so that we will be successfully closing on the property for the future campus in March. So may I ask you to celebrate with us the ministry and also celebrate how God actually accomplished this ministry through people like Mrs. Wu, like Miss Case, like many other that walked before us, and to give a generous New Year donation to this ministry. Thank you.
Thank you very much.